Hi everyone, my name is Forrest Wang from Hangzhou, a city famous of the great e-commerce company Alibaba and Jack Ma. Hangzhou is also the first CBEC comprehensive pilot zone in China, and the city the top two CBEC platforms located Tmall.com and Kaola.com. So it should not be too much to call Hangzhou the city of CBEC. I have been working at China Custom Hangzhou for 18 years, experienced in laws and policies on customs and CBEC. Since practice as a lawyer, I have provided legal services for a number of CBEC enterprises. I'm also an expert member of Hangzhou CBEC Association and Hunan CBEC Association. For simplicity, the term CBEC I mentioned in this course refers to China's cross-border e-commerce retail import policies. According to the number 486 circular, which was issued in 2018, and I think it's the most important circular of CBEC policies. The definition of CBEC is the consumption behavior that consumers in China purchase goods from abroad through CBEC platforms and deliver goods into China through bonded import or direct purchase import. I think it's too abstract to understand, so I'll try to introduce it by my way. Let's have a look at the history of overseas online shopping, which is usually called 海淘 and 代购. I think they are the predecessor of CBEC. To Chinese consumers, the traditional way to buy foreign goods is general trade. But when e-commerce era comes, Chinese consumers who know English began to place order on overseas websites. I think it's things like 2005 or 2006. My wife was one of them. She bought electronic products, clothes, cosmetics, healthcare products, and so on. I remember she bought a wonderful Bose headphone for my birthday present. Mm, some websites, such as Herbs, provide direct mail to China, but most websites like Amazon US does not provide transnational delivery. So it comes up many shipping companies. They provide parcels reception service in foreign countries and then mail to China. Overseas online shopping is not convenient, and you have to wait for a long time for the delivery. But it's cheaper, and it means authentic guarantee and quality assurance. Then purchasing agents flourished. It is known as 代购. They opened stores on Taobao.com at first, and then made shopping groups on social media app like WeChat, providing purchasing agent services. It's nearly impossible to put an exact dollar figure on the size of the 代购 industry, but we know that 代购 is massive business. There was one proof. When Sanlu milk powder incident broke out in 2008, baby formulas all over the world was almost bought up by 代购. However, 代购 is a gray area. In the eyes of the government, this is a huge tax loophole. Personal postal articles was almost impossible to be supervised, and 代购 also makes the national economic data unable to be counted. which is not good for the macroeconomic control. In this case, the Chinese government began to design CBEC retail import as a new trade mode from 2012. I think the main purposes are as follows. First, guide Daigou to the regular channel. Second, shorten the intermediate links and develop a new and dynamic economy. Third, meet the needs of consumers. Let's see the details of CBEC. There are two different modes of CBEC according to the distribution. The first is bonded import. Whole batches of foreign goods are imported to China as bonded goods and put in warehouses in bonded zone. When the consumer places an order, the CBEC platform transmits the order, payment, and logistics data to customs, which are known as three bills. Then customs clearance, and then the commodity will be dispatched as personal parcel to the consumer from the bonded zone. The second is direct purchase import. The commodities are stored in warehouses overseas. Then the consumer places an order. The commodity will be packaged as personal parcel and then be delivered by international logistics to customs supervised sites for CBEC in China. Before customs clearance, three bills need to be transmitted to customs, and after that, the parcel will be dispatched to the consumer. Bonded import and direct purchase import have corresponding customs supervised codes, which are 1210 and 9610. People like to use them to represent the two CBEC methods. 1210 is only available in 86 pilot cities and Hainan province. And from 2014 to 2018, there are only 7, then increasing to 15 pilot cities. The biggest business volume are Ningbo, Shenzhen, Zhengzhou, and Hangzhou, who are the first several pilot cities. To 9610, there is no area limited, but you have to clear customs on ports where express articles are available. Actually, only some ports are available. Platforms of CBEC should complete customs registration and business registration in China. Actually, it's okay for websites overseas because they only need to establish or authorize a Chinese company, because the circular number 486 only requires the operation main body of platform is in China. So Tmall Global and JD Global are websites registering in Hong Kong. It doesn't matter. Seller. In the circular, it is called CBEC Enterprise, but I prefer to call it seller because it's more comprehensible. The structure of CBEC seller must be a dual subject structure. Company A must be an overseas company as the cargo owner of CBEC commodities, and company B is an enterprise registering in China and entrusted by company A, bearing all administrative and civil liabilities. Positive list. The formal name of positive list is CBEC Retail Import List, but people usually call it positive list. Only commodities in this list could be sold via CBEC. The list contains 1413 categories of goods, which are mainly consumption goods that can meet the requirements of domestic consumers and are easy to be supervised by government and delivered by express or mail, including some food and beverage, clothing, shoes and hats, household appliances, and some cosmetics, diapers, toys, etc. Let's have a look at the list. We see dog or cat food in airtight containers. There are remarks, meaning that only via bounded import you can import these pet cans. And look at these wines. No remarks means two methods are okay. Both 1210 and 9610. Many people know the positive list, but they don't know there is also a negative list. That is the circular number 202 in 2015 by AQSIQ. Actually, it's not a list, just a gathering of prohibitive norms. So, only commodities meet the positive list, and meanwhile, not meet the negative list can be imported. So, to candid food for dogs and cats, if they are made in a country, there is no bilateral agreement with China. They cannot be imported, although they meet the positive list, because they are animal and plant derived food without access to inspection and quarantine. Annual purchase limit. To every citizen, the maximum value of any single CBEC transaction is 5,000 RMB. The annual per person limit is 26,000 RMB. Over this limit, one cannot place an order. And every transaction needs someone's ID number. Junivile's ID are okay too. Tax payable on goods imported via CBEC. The tax of importing goods includes three parts. To CBEC products, tariff equals to 0. VAT equal VAT 70%. Consumption tax 70% too. To most goods, there is no consumption tax, so commonly, integrated tax equals to 9.1%. Thus, people may say, wow, the CBE's tax is much lower than general trade. Unfortunately, it is not true, because the tax base, that is a dutiable value, equals to retail price. We know that retail price is a lot higher than wholesale price. And wholesale price is the tax base of general trade. So, to some goods, tax payable via CBEC is somewhat lower than via general trade. But to others, it may be a little higher. So in general, I think it is no obvious strength. Second part, why CBEC? First, market. China has a large consumer and online shopping group, material e-commerce and logistics system. And this is the number of internet users and online shopping users. And consumers' requirements for the quality of life are increasing. And we can see the annual growth rate of China's imports of consumer goods. It was a lot higher than the annual growth rate of China's import of goods. This table is the data of imports and exports via CBEC. We can see that in 2016 the total volume was RMB 50 billion, while in 2019 the value was RMB 186 billion, with an average annual growth of 55. Second, chances. Online sales are more active. New retail, social e-commerce, and online red economy are very hot. Compared with the traditional channels, e-commerce channels have more opportunities. If the products become popular, you can quickly occupy the market. This is an example. A news of cosmetics brand Easting from Spain. In their best day in traditional European market is around 5,000 to 10,000 bottles. But in Chinese e-commerce platform, more than 50,000 bottles can be sold in one day. And the store sales exceeded 200 million yuan in 2018. In 2015, Easting entered China with an annual sales volume of only 3 million yuan. Third, low entering threshold. CBEC offers a faster and more convenient way for products to enter the mainland market than general import trade. For example, if you want to export food to China via general trade, you have to experience a very complicated procedure. Producers need to register in GAC. Then exporters record filing in GAC, importers record filing in local customs house. And the Chinese tag has to be rectified also, because food must be labeled by Chinese tags. Then when importing, food need to be inspected and quarantined. Just like food, cosmetics, medical devices also need such strict audit. It may take half a year or even 1 year to complete the whole procedure. However, CBEC products do not need all these requirements. So I think this is the biggest strength of CBEC channel. So you can see the result. In 2018, the top two products with the highest CBEC retail import value were cosmetics, accounting for 36% of total, and food 24%. The third part, how to enter Chinese market via CBEC. If you have an online shopping website outside of mainland China, the simplest way is direct purchase import 9610. You only need 3 steps. First, find a logistics and customs clearance service provider like 4PX, SF Express, DHL. Second step, a big company in China to bear all the administrative and civil liabilities. and to transmit data to customs. Third step, an online pay company to receive money and exchange. And some companies like 4PX even afford one-stop shop for a complete BCEC solution, including a big company. But the biggest difficulty is the customer traffic. So you have to spend money on advertising and marketing to let people know and interest your website. It's not easy. The second way is that you can open flagship stores on various shopping platforms, and you can choose to operate them by yourself, like Japan's Kelby company. It registered a company in Hangzhou and opened flagship stores on the top three CBEC platforms in China. Of course, you don't have to operate by yourself. There are many agent operating companies in China. They provide professional services to run your flagship store and extract profits from your sales. Platforms will provide logistics and custom clearance and payment services. However, it is difficult for SME brands to open stores because of the high entering threshold of the big platforms and the high operating cost. The third way is some of my suggestion. First, find dealers who are familiar with CBC business. This is a very traditional approach, but I think it does work because you need a partner familiar with Chinese market and online marketing. Second, focus on small and medium-sized platforms and third and fourth tier cities customers because there is fierce competition on big platforms and first tier and second tier cities where big brands have advantages. Hypack.cn is a very successful O2O infant products platforms connecting infant product stores in the third and fourth tier cities and expand many users with low cost. I think such platform is very suitable for European small and medium sized brands. Third, use CBEC to test water and conduct general trade after commodities are approved. As I mentioned before, the biggest strength of CBEC is the low entering threshold. So you can use it to test water. And you should know that CBEC has its weakness, such as you cannot wholesale them to Chinese domestic market. So it is not flexible enough. And I suggest you try multiple ways. Fourth, choose Hong Kong as the storage place if you import via 9610. Because first, Hong Kong is a free trade port as long as its entry into Hong Kong is not subject to the positive list in China. But kindly note that entry from Hong Kong into mainland China via 6910 is still subject to positive list. Second, Hong Kong has developed international flight and shipping network with low international transportation cost. Third, Hong Kong direct mail customs clearance can go through individual post clearance and CBEC clearance with various customs clearance channels. Fourth, Hong Kong is adjacent to Guangdong with short transportation time and fast customs clearance time. Fifth, Guangdong Express network is developed and the domestic delivery cost is low. The fourth part, the legal risks of CBEC. The risk of trademark rush. We know that trademarks have originality. The ownership of trademark rights in Europe does not mean the ownership of that in China. And China's trademark legal system is still unclear. Malicious rush registration cannot effectively be punished and warned. Once malicious rush registration of trademark happens to a foreign seller in China, he has only three choices: purchase, give up, or civil lawsuit. No matter what kind of measures are taken, he will have to spend time and money to protect itself, which will delay its pace of entering the Chinese market. So, you'd better inquire about the situation of your trademarks in China and register them in advance. Risk of custom clearance. Smuggling. In China, smuggling is a crime if tax evasion over 200,000 RMB. There are two very common smuggling ways. First, declaring non-CBEC commodity into CBEC by artificial false orders, payments, and logistics, and other person's IDs. Second, understanding the true value. So be careful that your partner or buyer uses these methods to evade taxes, thereby involving you in the risk of violations. At the same time, if the specification, model, and quantity of the goods are wrong when they are declared, the importer will be punished by the customs, but these penalties are relatively minor. Risk of product safety. Because of the cancellation of registration and direct filing to CBEC products, the government pays more attention to the risk of product safety. According to the requirements of Circular Number 486, sellers should inform consumers in a prominent position that there may be differences between the standards or technical specifications of your commodities and those in China. Liabilities bearing. The domestic enterprise entrusted by seller overseas, that is Company B I mentioned before, bears domestic, administrative, and civil liabilities. There is an example. Cereal from Japan's nuclear radiation affected areas, and the importer was fined. So, you'd better to establish the quality traceability system to be assured of the safety of CBEC products. Ingredients from endangered wild fauna and flora. Be careful if your products contain endangered animal and plant ingredients, especially healthcare food and cosmetics. I have heard some cases of customs punishment. This is a typical one. Masks contain ingredients of sturgeon seed extract, and sturgeon belong to endangered species. So the importer was fined 5,000 RMB. That is 5% of the total value.